Well, that's a good segue into our next topic here.
Oh, yeah. What's the next one?
August home sales dropped more than expected as price set up new records, according to CNBC.
The calm before the storm,
That's say.
The calm before the storm.
Yeah.
Now, I take a little bit of an issue with this because, again, this is like a generalization. And yes, we make generalizations on this show all the time. But this is not true in a lot of places. So in some places, August home sales dropped more than expected because they rose a lot higher than expected the year before. I'm talking to you, Austin, Texas. I'm talking to you, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm talking to you, Phoenix. Florida. I'm talking to you, Idaho. I'm talking to you, Florida. Right? So you had a 30, 40% increase. And you're like, oh, steep sales drop. Yeah, duh. What rises fast is going to fall fast. But it's not falling below where it started from. And that's where everyone needs to take a massive chill pill and just realize what we're talking about.
Why does it feel that there's a data-heavy article coming up after this?
Come on.
Do you feel that? Or is it just me? Like
I sense it.
I just sense that right there.
All right.
The will sense it.
All right. So I'm talking about price. I know I'm talking about price a little bit early, but again, this actually relates to the volume of sales. Mm-hmm. So again, in these same places that saw a really huge spike of people moving to them in 2022 to 2023, that's going to be slowed down for 23 compared to 24 because rates were higher. Mostly people that were going to migrate somewhere had already done that by handfuls. Yeah. And so it's kind of like there's like the trickle effect where, there's some people still moving there. Oh, and they're moving into this place that already has a higher price. There's just less of them doing it. So this, I'm not surprised by at all because I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not.
Exactly.
Sorry. That was a long minute and a half rant.
That's good.
Well, on a good note, I mean, it's...
Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Yeah.
Thank you,
guys. There you go. Yeah, there's currently right now homes unsold. It was 725,000 last year. If you think about that, that's actually 37% more homes available right now for sale than we had last year.
That's a lot.
Because remember, we were talking about one of our podcasts, like, what do you think inventory is going to creep up to? And I think we're talking about 450, 650.
Yeah, like 650. Yeah.
You know, somewhere around there. Yeah. And here we are at 725 homes unsold, right? That's not the homes available nationwide, yes, but there's other stats here that go with that. But I wanted to do some research. So the homes that were sold last year was 4.1 million homes that were sold. On average, I put 10 years. The average has been between 5 to 5.5 million. Mm-hmm. In 2021, it was 6.1. No wonder we were so slammed.
Yeah.
You remember? I couldn't go to the restaurant without taking a phone call.
Well,
I had to move my office down to the bathroom.
Yeah,
that's gross.
That was pretty cool. So the average is usually like 5.5 million is what we've seen on average. So 1 million homes, not being sold in a market right now in the last couple of years, you can feel it. There's.
Yeah, I think so. The overall supply is still lower than what is traditionally called healthy. I think like 6 months. I think 6 months is the number they go.
Yeah,
with.
I did
say 6 months is 6 months supply is considered balanced or healthy. Yeah. And I guess we're at 4.2 months. So there's still more inventory that could come, and it's not going to totally tilt the market into a tailspin. No. So that's good. But even though there's a lot more listings comparatively this year than last year, the prices are still staying the same. And again, there's no argument to really make for them to completely fall off a cliff and plummet because people are still in those homes making payments and there's no reason for them to sell. Yeah. So inventory is going to remain tight even though demand is still there.
Correct.
Yeah, I see home prices unlikely to drop, and if they do, it's going to be very limited or very minimal. Mm-hmm. At least here in San Diego and market to market, I just feel for us here in our local market, it's going to be very difficult to see a 20, 30, 40 price cut unless something drastic happens.
You brought that up before, and I remember saying like that'd be an indication that something much larger is going on underneath the entire financial environment, not just housing. I know that it's easy to pick on housing because it's of the great financial collapse of 08, 09, and 10, but again, unless there's a systemic problem, I don't know if that's on the horizon.
Yeah.
And
consumer debt.
Well, yeah, that may be true, but again, then you have the equity argument. For anyone who's got massive consumer debt and you own a home and you have equity, that's your get out of jail free card. I know people in the comments hate that because you shouldn't be using home equity to pay off debt. Okay, well, some people made some bad choices. Some people were hit with unexpected expenses. What else are they to do?
I think maybe people are at the point where, and I'm just kind of inferring here, at the point where it's like, well, up until when am I going to use that equity? You know, we know that everybody's in debt. So at what point does it come to the decision like, hey, all right, it's time to tap into the equity?
I think it's at the point until you put yourself out of the game. You can't take yourself out of the game because if you make missed payments or you're exceeding your credit balances, like then you're already now threatening your ability to get that equity out. That's what I'd say it is.
How many clients do we have that have their home paid off and they're coming back now because they want a reverse mortgage?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Or they have a family situation that they encounter. They never, foreseen that would happen. And now next thing you know, they have to go into something, that happens
or they're taking
a lot.
A couple $100,000 out to go buy another place that they're going to keep and rent, or they're going to build ADUs on or something. Like there's a lot of different scenarios. It's not always, I know I always go to the personal debt thing and people are using it equity. Yes. But it's also because of other long-term goals that they're working on too. Yeah. So
there's a lot of things that happen that are just, you think you got it all figured out. And if you have your house paid off, good for you. That's awesome. Congratulations, actually.
Quick correlation, because we had talked about this a couple weeks ago, how Gen Z is chomping at the heels of the millennials and Gen X as far as home buyers. You saw that in August of 2024, 26% of the home sales were from first-time home buyers. And broadly, those were Gen Z home buyers. And Gen Z has this attitude because they didn't live through in a cognizant way. They didn't live through 2006 and 7, or 8, 9, and 10. They might have been a lot younger. They were a lot younger. Well, so it's not real to them as real as it is to maybe someone like in Brian's age, late 20s, early 30s.
Hey.
No, I'm talking about you. Yeah, I'm talking about you and everyone else that's with you.
No, but like we had one of our listeners chime in on the comments. He said, I didn't live through this. So for me, it was, rather oblivious. I didn't know. So now all I'm focusing on is, I just graduated. I finally have a solid paying job. And all I'm focused on is saving so that I can buy my house. Yeah. And he said it with a lot of conviction. Like, that's all I know. That's all I want. And he's like, you clearly said exactly what I think. Yeah. And I'm like, you and a lot of people.
To me, it's like my parents talking to me about buying their first house in the 70s for like $78,000 or something at like 13%. And then the inflation of the late 70s and the early 80s, I'm like, I didn't know that I hear about this by proxy, like secondhand. So it wasn't real to me. So when I am, in my 20s and my 30s, and I look at the market the way it is, like, oh, this is the way it is, because I'm looking at it in this window of this horse blinder window, and I think there's more of this to come. Where I think a lot of our first-time home buyers are going to be Gen Z, and there's going to be maybe some less cash buyers, maybe less investors. That depends. That's a bigger conversation. But I know that right now the Gen Zs are chomping at the bit for home ownership.
No, and you know what's cool about with the Gen Zs too? They're actually being very diverse. They're diversifying certain things. They're taking advantage of the 401k companies matching. They're like saying, screw it. Hey, if my company's matching, I'm going to put as much as they'll match me.
Essentially free money.
And that's what you guys have. Like, people, if they're matching your company, put money into that retirement. You're just going to get free money. With the compounding interest, it's not going to be such a bad thing for you. Yep. So take advantage of those things.
In general, the whole idea of freedom of blank is a common theme. Freedom of time, freedom of work, freedom in finances, and freedom of choice to just kind of go wherever, do wherever, do whatever I want to do wherever I want, and where I want to go and when and how and on what terms. That is a common denominator. And I think that housing and the choice to buy housing is just one of those things that reveals that attitude.
Oh yeah, it's going to help you. Again, being diverse, like owning a home, putting your money in the stocks, retirement, whatever that may be. Start doing that now at an early age. Even if it's $100 right now, go ahead, just start saving. Get used to that habit of doing those things. Don't always put all your eggs in one basket. And a lot of us put all our eggs in one basket, whether it's just going to be real estate or the stock market, something goes sideways, you're done. It's going to hurt.
There is only one place where I put all my eggs in the basket. You know what that is?
Data.
The grocery store. You said data? Dang, you're hey, this guy's such a nerd. We're going to say data. At the grocery store. That's a terrible dad joke.
Data.
You know, like the dad joke? It's not a data joke. It's a dad joke. Okay, God, we got to go on. Yeah.